Hey there and welcome back to episode 70 of Sims Sunday. My name is Pete and by now you should know in this series we try to complete The Sims 3. And we start today's episode off with Pauline, who gets a promotion to Con Artist. And the next promotion will allow her to choose between the Evil and the Thief branch, and for the moment I'm leaning a bit more towards Thief, since the somewhat cracked relationship with her boss does not play that much of a role in that branch. As usual now, Pauline can live out her kleptomaniac side, and once again the local art gallery is the place to be. I'm actually wondering how much this will drive the lot value down, because eventually we are going to buy this property, and it would be kind of ironic if we then had to upgrade it again because Pauline stole too much. Well, I guess we'll have to see about that. Back at home, the ghost of grandmother Yisha is playing video games while Pauline returns and will now take a shower. Afterwards, it's time to paint. After all, the painting here is more than halfway done already. And here we are, a good hour later, Pauline finishes the painting. It's not terribly valuable, but let's sell it anyway, and then she can begin work on another one. Meanwhile, Paul has already gotten up and taken a shower, and it's his day off today, so you know what that means, he will spend most of the day writing. Pauline meanwhile increases her painting skill up to level 3, but she's still far away from being able to make money with this. Awake up next is Chastity, who will begin her day by grabbing the mail, and that means we can now sell the stuff she just received from the family inventory combined with the items that Pauline stole. Afterwards, it's time to make even more money, and for that reason we will send Chastity off to the park for another guitar session. With Pauline, it is now time to complete an opportunity that we received in the last episode. We need her to drop off a bribe at City Hall, so for the moment she can stop painting and then drop off the money. And a few minutes later she's done, rewarded with a nice job performance increase. Back at home, it is then time for a late breakfast, both for Pauline and for Uncle Patrick as well. Pauline can then head off to bed, while a somewhat stressed out Paul switches to the Sim Life goggles. And his brother Patrick continues his heartbreaking endeavors. Over in the park, Patrick has met Diana, who has no partner at the moment and therefore very quickly falls for him. As usual, after the kiss is before the breakup, so let's quickly ask Diana to become a girlfriend. And then we can break up with her again. And for Heartbreaker Patrick, that's now 2 down and 8 more to go. Luckily though, the next target waits right next to him. Even on his days off, Paul will have to put in some work, so we can catch him over by the office building, ready to attend another meeting. In the park meanwhile, Paul has charmed his way into the heart of Carrie, and so I think it's about time we disappoint another girlfriend. Her guitar session was not all that successful, but still Chastity arrives a few minutes late at work. However, that is not too big of a problem, as she is unable to get a promotion today anyway. Paul meanwhile has completed his first meeting and immediately started his second one, while Patrick has decided that the restroom is a good place to flirt. Let's see if that proves to be true. Well, apparently it does, because the kiss was successful. Now all we need to do is ask Charissa to become Patrick's girlfriend. Perfect, and with that it's time for the breakup again. Now, from a few moments ago, you might remember Carrie. And Carrie is actually one of Pauline's co-workers, so a person that she should have a good relationship with. For the moment, that relationship can be improved upon, so we can do exactly that. However, we will also not leave Carrie's former conversation partner unoccupied, since she looks like another perfect target for Patrick. So the kiss was already a success. For a second we need to jump back over to Chastity though, as she has just finished her shift and will now begin to play guitar again. Meanwhile, back at home, Paul is also done with his meetings, and so it's back to writing for him. In the park then, Patrick and Marianne become boy and girlfriend, however, only for a split second. Carrie and Pauline also wrap up their conversation. Both of them have already become best friends. While Patrick immediately sets sight on the next woman, we quickly need to jump back over to Paul. Because, surprise surprise, today is actually Paul's birthday. And so, while Pauline is busy helping out her uncle in the garden, Paul becomes the third active household member to age up to elder. However, for now there is no time to rest. With the age transition complete, Paul can immediately get back to writing. Patrick's conversation partner from just a few seconds ago has sadly left him in the dust, but for Patrick there's always an alternative in sight. So let's see about the chemistry between him and Maria. That already looked pretty promising, so how about we make her his girlfriend? Wonderful, and once again the bond is only of short duration. At home, with another workday coming up tomorrow, it is now time for Paul to shut down the laptop, as he can now get some sleep. Patrick, however, is not done just yet. As long as there's someone out there to be flirted with, he will stay awake. Alright, and once again he has won a heart for himself. This time it was Tracy's, but sadly Tracy's about to leave disappointed. Chastity's evening guitar session, meanwhile, can safely be called a failure. She did not make a single simoleon in tips, maybe because Patrick has successfully ruined the mood of everyone in the park. To wrap up his day, Patrick will do a bit of harvesting, while Chastity lays down next to her husband to get some sleep. With Patrick's arrival, Pauline can now stop the gardening work. Her help is much appreciated, so we can quickly transfer what she harvested over to Patrick, and then it's time for her to take a well-deserved shower. For some reason, Patrick can once again grab the mail, so we can once again do a bit of selling. And then it's time for him to get some rest, and for Pauline to get something to eat. With a full belly and the night off, Pauline can fulfill herself a wish, and that is to donate 1,000 simoleons to Undermine charity. And with that wish fulfilled now, let's have her quickly finish the painting that she started earlier. And here we are, painting done, and for the amazing value of 14 simoleons we can sell this one, and then we can follow Pauline on another crime spree. Her object of interest is the statue, but she seems to get things confused a bit and grabs the lamp instead. Well, that is one of 3 swipes wasted. Let's make sure the second one goes right where it needs to be. Lovely, and with the statue in our inventory, the third swipe goes for the bar, but Pauline once again has other plans. Back at home, meanwhile, Paul is awake and his shift starts soon, so in order to make sure that he gets another promotion, let's have him work from home for a while. In the background you can see Pauline has already returned and has started painting again. Alright, Paul's work shift starts in about an hour, but he did get a bit of work in. Now before he leaves we still need to work on that fun bar, so that he won't complain about a full day of working hard. Up next we have Chastity, who will quickly grab breakfast, and Patrick, who will start his day in the garden. While the two are busy, Paul then leaves for work. We did not quite manage to max out his fun bar, but I think it's enough to get him through the shift. Pauline meanwhile finishes another painting. We can immediately sell that one and then start with the next one. After breakfast, Chastity has already teleported herself over to the park, and she will now once again begin a guitar session. Let's also quickly hop into the family inventory to sell the 3 items that Pauline stole. And then we can watch Patrick wrap things up in the garden and make his way over to the shower. On the way we can quickly sell the money tree harvests and then join Pauline again, who completes another painting. The color red seems to be featured very prominently in her art, and maybe that has something to do with her evil trait. Once again though, we can sell the painting and then it's time for Pauline to get some sleep. And while she does, we get a nice cash bonus from Paul, who helped fend off a hostile takeover at work. Speaking of work, after his shower, Patrick is getting busy again. For the Heartbreaker lifetime wish, he still needs to break up with 3 more girlfriends, and so it's a good thing that he has already found someone in the park to flirt with. Patrick's kisses seem to be irresistible, but before we make the next move, let's quickly jump over to Paul. Because all the preparation has paid off, as Paul gets promoted to chairman of the board. However, the meeting rating is looking far from perfect, and with his next shift starting tomorrow already, Paul still has a bit of work ahead of him. In the park then, Patrick and Shasha start what could be the beginning of a wonderful relationship, however, not with Patrick. With one more breakup, we get closer and closer to the Heartbreaker lifetime wish, and while Patrick looks for target number 9, we can actually console a devastated Shasha with Chastity. Not necessarily because she cares, but because she needs a bit of social interaction. And with her social bar at least somewhat filled, Chastity can now run off to the bookstore for another shift. Meanwhile, back in the park, the person that Patrick wanted to pick up next suddenly turns into a ghost. Well, maybe she's actually better off that way. A few minutes later, Paul finishes his first meeting, but as you can see, he will need to attend a few more. Brother Patrick, meanwhile, has successfully identified another potential partner.
Artab, Vuhitsi Atu.
Mahar.
While Patrick immediately begins flirting, Paul wraps up another meeting, but he is still not finished at the office building. There is one more meeting he should attend. Let's also quickly jump back home where Pauline is up and well rested, and she has just grabbed the mail and will now pay the bills, and while she does, we can sell what we just received. Then it's time for breakfast and we can jump back to our Heartbreaker. Patrick has already landed a kiss with Michelle, so now it's time for phase 2. And with Patrick and Michelle successfully entering a relationship, let's go for the breakup one more time. Now with a quick break in the action, let's quickly count our ex-girlfriends. Here we have the first one, here number 2 and 3, that's number 4, 5, 6 and 7, Carrie is number 8, and here we have number 9. So only one more breakup remains until we have completed the Heartbreaker lifetime wish. Before we get to that, however, we can once again watch Pauline grab the brush, and for the rest of the day she will likely continue to paint. And before we can complete the Heartbreaker lifetime wish, we will actually complete something else in this episode. Because with another promotion, Chastity becomes a Book Club Moderator, and that is the third and final level of the Bookstore Clerk part-time career, which we can therefore now mark as completed. Chastity will now once again begin playing for tips, while Patrick engages his final target just a few meters next to her. And we learned that Andrea Oldham actually has a boyfriend. However, I think for this final breakup we can go all out. So while Patrick puts his best efforts into increasing the relationship with Andrea, Paul has finally returned home from his meetings and is now enjoying dinner by himself. And just a few moments later, over by the theater, Andrea finally starts responding to Patrick's flirting attempts. After dinner, meanwhile, Paul will once again continue to write, while brother Patrick goes for one last kiss. Now, in order to be able to enter a relationship with Andrea, we of course need her to break up with her current boyfriend, and that is exactly what Patrick is trying to achieve right now. Alright, Andrea is now officially single, but we need to quickly hop back home for the completion of another painting by Pauline. And as usual, we can sell this one and then have her start from scratch. But back to Patrick, who is now able to finally go steady with Andrea. And that means it is now time for the 10th and final heartbreak. With the Heartbreaker lifetime wish now completed, Patrick can finally leave the ladies behind and return to his beloved garden. And after fertilizing the steak plant he planted earlier, a very emotional day comes to an end for Patrick, so today he will be the first one to go to bed. Shortly after, his brother Paul does the same. Then over by the theater, Chastity puts the guitar away. She has earned another 450 simoleons in tips, but she can now also get some sleep. And so with Pauline finishing, selling and then starting a new painting, we will make a cut in today's episode. In the next one, we will hopefully start the thief career branch, and we will also very likely complete the business career with Paul. Until then, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!